The South African Race Relations Analyzing Statistics South Africa's statistics show that the median salary of an African in 2011, last year, was 2,380. The coloureds earned the median salary 3,030 rands, just slightly better. The Indians earned 6,800 and whites earned 10,000 rands. To Cosatu, the demand for a national minimum wage is then seen as a springboard to protect all the low-paid workers from their current situation that I've just described through the statistics. We're calling for a coherent wage incomes policy, which becomes an integral part of an overall strategy to address the economic fault lines we inherited from the colonial past and apartheid.
A historical perspective on minimum wages will not go down well with you. Minimum wage law is one of the rules of the game in the economic arena that disadvantages the low-skilled and young people. And so even the Minister of Labour has acknowledged that over 2,000 jobs have been lost in the process as a consequence of the increase in minimum wages that have recently been announced. Now, I am not against increased wages at all. But what I'm talking about is, if you implement minimum wage laws, there are going to be consequences. I advocate very strongly that we focus on the effects of policy. We look at the effects of minimum wage laws, for example. And the point is, effects are very important. Consequences of policy are far more important than the noble intentions, because the effects are the reality. That's what you are stuck with. That's what you have to deal with. One policy issue that I stand firmly on, in terms of my view, on which I do not compromise, is affirmative action. We do not need that.
You are saying you have effect. The effect will be what will be remaining with. But you don't go back before you arrive at our intentions. Going back meaning the effects of what we are having now is of a policy of colonialism, apartheid, that in history understands, read by the General Secretary of Cosatu, confirms the job reservations that was an effect of policy. You go on where Gia came in as Gisa, all of them protected what was existing before. That's an effect of policy which we want to reverse. Someone can quickly conclude that it is not you speaking. You are used as a front to come and say to us, look, I'm like you with color, can you see me? Agree with me. We have dangers of struggles together. Therefore, the thinking should be the same line.
My brother, I am not a front for anybody at all. I stand on my own. If I am to be crucified, I should be crucified purely on the basis that I articulated views that I believed in. But I am not a front for anyone. Please do not insult me.
Capitalists don't want to compromise. Instead, rich will be rich in South Africa and poor will be poor.
Oh, the rich will be rich and the poor will be poor. Look, the point is, we are not all equally endowed. Let's just accept that. That's the reality. And you are more enterprising, more entrepreneurial than I am. Potentially you are. I don't want you restricting yourself to just being your worker and an employee. It is not necessarily your destiny.
At the center of all of these discussions must be basic principles we should all ascribe Two. One of those basic principles is that of justice and fairness.